We are now live. We are live, okay? Hello everyone. Let me add good evening. Abhi, you have to send me a request to join. Thank you. Hair is my trademark, so my hair has to be on point always. Abhi, you're not sending me a request. You got to send me a request, brother. Good evening, Arun, Hakim. Sharp as a knife. Let's see. You have no request to join. Hey, Abhi, you've got to send me a request to join. So only then I can add you. Nilesh, क्या हाल है यार? बड़ी देर बाद बड़े दिनों से मुलाकात है Mandeep. Good to see everyone. The boss is in the house. Let's freaking go. Okay, so we've got a couple of requests. Let's see who it is. Okay, Abhi. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Harry sir.
Hello, Abhi. How are you? Am I audible?
Yeah, you're very much audible, sir.
I'm audible. Chalo, that's good. That's half the battle won. I always say कि audible होना चाहिए. वो आधी battle वहीं पे जीती गई है. Chalo, okay. So for all my users, meet Abhi Srivastav. I am introducing him instead of him introducing me, and then he can introduce me. So that's okay. We can do this in one with the other. Abhi and I, we have known each other for a long time. Abhi is world of knowledge when it comes to exercise, sports science, bodybuilding. He knows everything. He knows all the bodybuilding scene, who's winning, who's losing, why they won, why they lost, all that. So it's Abhi is the man. Abhi has done our APT as well. So now I'm going to hand it over to Abhi. Abhi, I don't know if you want to run this interview in Hindi or you want to do it in English or you want to do it mixed. It's totally up to you.
We'll do as you.
Man, I'm easy, man. I am your guest. You do whatever you want. You ask me whatever you want. You say whatever you want. Over to you.
Yeah. So I'm saying we'll do your way. The way you interact with your audience, that is English. A combination of Hindi and English so that we can address maximum number of people. Yeah.
Sounds good.
So I have, yes, as you rightly mentioned, we have known each other for quite a bit of a long time. And there are a few words of appreciation that I would begin with. Prior to knowing you, that I have actually done in past 1.5, 2 years. Prior to that, the bodybuilding education, the physique transformation education, the fat loss education was somehow and a lot, scattered. It was not, structured in a process. So after, in fact, learning from you and understanding how you look at this perspective, there are a number of things that you have already sorted for a number of people. I would not only say for coaches, or maybe for people who are into this game for quite some long time, but also for the people who are actually enthusiastic towards learning this science, towards learning this thing. How I am impressed more by you is that how you look towards life, how you run this business, which was at one point of time a science basically which was just limited to only gyms, or maybe some of the yoga sessions, some of the dieting concepts with people. In fact, anybody, any lady or any guy planning a diet for a woman who just want to shoot for a wedding, or maybe for any other purposes. But now, some factor from past some time that you have been into the business, you have changed the platform. Now the coaches are much more educated while they are designing the plans, while they are transforming the physique, while they're talking about the fat loss goal, say in 12 weeks time, 16 weeks time, This is what you can expect. This is what I'll be able to do. You give me this commitment, I'll be able to do it. Prior to that, you eat 8 eggs, you eat boiled chicken, you do a walk, you do 5 sets, or you do this exercise. And there was no customized thing as you talk about. Okay. But as I really said, that this session is not going to be about bodybuilding, but I'm so,
it's
yeah,
not, man.
yeah,
I'm, yeah, man. Let's look. I really appreciate that. That's a very warm introduction. I appreciate it.
yeah,
Yeah, thank you. I'm speechless. So now
yeah,
let's get into the meat and bones of it. So
absolutely,
before people
absolutely.
start falling asleep on me.
Yeah. So, in fact, I would want to start with the question. We, in fact, whosoever has been a PT student, they know that what is the background of yours and for how long you have been into the fitness industry, into the coaching industry, into being a trainer, what have you done in your education? But I want to start with a question. What made you come into this business altogether of education, of being an educator, which is much more emphasized than just being a coach, just being a trainer at the gym? So what made you come into this business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to keep it pretty brief. Two or three reasons. One, and that lot of senior coaches, educations, they feel that way. When you're in a gym, you feel you can do a better job. You can teach people better. So I always had that drive. I always had that. That was the reason why I actually started personal training back in 2008. I was already 30 at the time. And so one was that I felt like I had something to offer to the world of fitness. So that was natural progression. Then when I got an opportunity with Fitness First to share my knowledge. So that was one. And second thing was I always sort of by default, I mean, I didn't realize these things up until sort of 2 or 3 or 4 years ago. But now when I look back, I've always sort of looked 10 years ahead, always looked at an exit plan by default, not by any design. So even when I started my fitness career, I think unknowingly, I always looked at an exit plan. Okay, so what after this? I'm going to do this for 5, 7, 10 years. Then what next? Right. So for me, it was personal training was great. It was a great start. So I started my education, my public speaking, so to speak, career back in 2008, 8 or 9 itself. So I was like, I always wanted to do more. I always believed in multiple revenue streams, multiple opportunities. If this finishes, then what next? So I started doing corporate talks where I was working in the city in Melbourne. So there were these little, not little, but these offices around, these companies around. So I started doing that. So I enjoyed getting up in front of people, speaking, interacting with people. I'm not short on confidence, as most people know me. A lot of people associate me with being very confident. And yeah, that was it. So it was like, I always felt I had more to offer. And when I looked at the Indian market, I started my workshops back in Australia, then US, and then I was doing my workshops in Australia before I
Mm-hmm.
came to India. So when I came to India, the only person back in 2013-14 was Kezad sir was the
Okay,
only
yeah,
person
sir.
who
Yeah.
would occasionally do a workshop, but that was more to sort of promote the other stuff. It wasn't like full-fledged anybody doing it. So I came and I looked and I said, there's nobody doing it. So let's just take the bull by the horns. And I've been very fortunate in the sense that worked out really well. So I always looked beyond. So even when I was in
Mm-hmm.
personal training, I knew the personal training life, the career is only till the age of 40, maximum 45. You can't be on a gym floor at the age of 50 and doing one-on-one PT. Not that there's anything wrong with it,
Mm-hmm.
but I always even now in online coaching, people who are in my team, people who are very close to me, they know I already have an exit strategy. I'm already working on bigger and hopefully better things. I'm looking already 5 years, 10 years ahead. So I certainly don't intend to be doing this in 5 years time, and definitely not in 10 years time. So I want to move on. So that was it. So I just looked at, three things. I felt I had something to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Two things. The second was I felt there was an opportunity, especially in the Indian market. And third was having an exit strategy. So that was it. So that's why I got into it.
Okay, great, great. And I have been seeing few comments, guys. So first of all, both Harry sir and myself gave an opportunity for nearly a day. That if in case you guys have any questions, please shoot or maybe please DM us the questions.
That's okay.
And
So you
yeah,
know, if you come across a good question, you can ask me. Now somebody asked a question just now that why do I use the word fucking a lot in my
absolutely. Yeah.
in my conversations? That's a very legitimate. That's a very valid question. It's not something that I'm super proud of. Let me just turn this damn thing off. So it's not something that I'm super proud of. I am constantly working to sort of cut back on swearing. I know you can always draw a parallel with Gary Vee. Gary Vee is known for swearing a lot, and Gary Vee is very unapologetic, and that's okay. You know, that's his style. You know, and he swears even at home, and that's fine. You know, I respect that. But I the way I look at myself is, yeah, I mean, I do swear a fair bit. I mean, I'm trying to cut back on it because, you know, I feel, yeah, occasional swearing is okay. But if you swear a lot, then what it can actually easily be misconstrued as is like your content is weak. You
Yep.
know, if you swear a lot, then people think this person's content isn't great. And not everybody appreciates swearing. So, to answer that question, I am actually, you'll find in this interview as well, you'll hardly sort of hear me use even an F-bomb. And if you were doing this interview a year back, they'll by now like, fuck this, fuck that, only like plenty of fucks. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that, I'm not saying this that I am changing because of some external pressure, but it's just I feel I can be better, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And people who say I don't give a shit about what the world says, they're mistaken. They don't know actually when to actually not to give a fuck about the world and when to give a fuck, and what is constructive feedback and what is a negative just hate and trolling. So yes, to answer that question, that's not something I'm very proud of. But yeah, hey, everyone's work in progress, so I'm trying to cut back on it. But I mean, I want to be authentic though. I'm not
Great.
changing because
Yeah.
there's a pressure. I want to be authentic still. So if something's really passionate, I'll say, fuck this, man. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm Baba Nanak now, you know, so.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody who has been in close touch with you, including your team as well, definitely, in fact, know that you work extensively without a break, without maybe receiving a Sunday or a Saturday or a holiday, something of that sort. So you work for, as far as I know, at least for 12 to 14 to 16 hours a day.
It's pretty
Okay.
standard, yeah. Pretty standard, yeah.
And
16
that
hours,
has
pretty
been,
standard.
yeah, and that has been for quite some time.
Yeah, nearly
For quite
14
some
years.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
So
longer.
in this journey, and nobody can deny this fact, into the fitness industry at least, and I'm talking globally, not only in India, that you are one of the most successful fitness entrepreneur. You are the one. So in this journey, what do you think that you have lost in achieving the success? What is that you have lost?
Look, I don't think I've lost anything, but I mean, let me answer that question to you slightly differently. First of all, I appreciate your kind words. Let me answer that a little differently. So if I had my time over, what are some of the things that I would have done differently? Regarding exactly as in the fitness, I would have definitely picked up lot lesser fights and lot lesser arguments with people. If I had my time over, if I could rewind, say, 12 years back, say 14 years back. See, I'm a very feisty person. See, few people who know me, I am not the one to take a step back. So I am known for very combative. I am very catty, very combative, very aggressive. You know, that's just me. That's just part of my DNA. But if I had my time over, I would have really liked to have channeled that aggression in more positively, rather than going and picking fights with people, getting into arguments, going and unnecessarily sticking my nose into other people's business, whether they're right or wrong. I'm not here on a crusade. You know, I am not the moral police. You know, I am not the moral standard. You know, I am not here to कि सब गलती कर रहे उसको डंडा मार के मुझे ठीक करना है. You know, I am not the more. I mean, I have no right. I mean, now that I'm older and I would like to think I'm a little wiser, now I think it's the buyer's responsibility. If somebody is misspreading false information, तो यार buyer को करना चाहिए ना. आप अपनी homework करो. मैं आपकी लड़ाई जाके क्यों लड़ूं? right?
Exactly.
So I'm going to mix this in Hindi and English. So I
Yeah.
think one of if I could change one thing, I really would, if somebody is listening to me and they want to take my advice, don't go and pick unnecessary fights with people. Only thing that I can say is one thing that I didn't do, which was pretty smart. Anybody who was above me, anybody who was more successful than me, anybody who already had runs on the board, so to speak, those people I built really good relationships. Say for instance, when I first entered India, the Indian market back in 2013-14, online coaching was a very foreign concept even up until pandemic. So I came in, so I've always had very astute business acumen when it came to all things business. I felt that I was very switched on. I was like 5 years ahead of everybody. I started online coaching in 2012 when it was
Yep.
such a foreign phenomenon. I came to India in 2014. I started online. I don't recall anybody. I'm sure there must have been online coaches in India as well, but nobody had taken the bull by the horn and ran with it.
Correct.
So I came in. So what did I do? So I came in. I said, okay, how do I crack into the Indian market? So I scanned the scene. Okay. So I looked at 3 people. So I said, okay, who can I coach? So at the time, the 3 athletes which were very popular were Shweta Rathore, Deepika Chaudhary, and Sonali Swami. Right. So I approached all 3. Okay. In 2014 to coach. Deepika Chaudhary was with Team Bombshell, so she politely said no. So I used that Australian card, and obviously my communication skills, and obviously everybody knows that my communication skills are incredibly powerful. I'm not shy to say that people might find this as very arrogant, but I know that my communication skills are incredibly powerful and I can connect with people very well. So
Yep.
I approached Deepika. Deepika was with the Team Bombshell, so she couldn't join my team. And I wasn't even asking for any money because I needed them more than they needed me, because I needed to get my foot in the door. So then I approached Shweta Rathore. So Shweta was with Kazad sir at the time and with the Dr. Som, right? So she said no. So then I approached Sonali Swami, and then she didn't have a coach at the time, so she said yes. So she became my first, like almost a client which was known nationally. And then when she came on board, I was very smart to figure out, okay, I need to leverage my way in, because I tell you a very interesting story. Back in 2012, I called Kazad sir. May he rest in peace. I called Kazad sir in 2000 because I didn't know who he was. So in 2011-12, there was this guy Deep from Mumbai. So he would keep saying Kazad. Like, who is this guy Kazad? Because there wasn't any social media at the time, there was no Instagram. So in 2012, I called Kazad sir and I said, Kazad, I asked her, I said, sir, I want to do some talks in India and I want to do some workshops. I was a nobody. मुझे कुत्ता नहीं जानता था यार 2015 में भी 14 में भी, right? So he was nice, but he was dismissive. He was like, कौन हो आप, क्या है, क्या आपकी background है? I had fucking nothing, man. I was a nobody to him. So that didn't work out, but that didn't deter me. That only made me more determined. I said, okay, I need to find a way to crack into the Indian market. So then I said, okay, who are the athletes here? So then I approached, and then Sonali was my first client. Then I knew she was with On. Okay. So that is in 2014 was Jirai Classic at Body Power. Okay. So I said, okay, how do I get to the next level? How do I leverage? See, people who want to know how do you actually grow in businesses, one of the lessons I would like to give is leverage. Okay. So I leveraged her to get to the CEO of On. Okay. Mr. Avik Sanyal. I'll always be very grateful to him. So I knew there was a Body Part Expo in Mumbai in 2014. So I used I didn't use, but I used my connection with Mr. Avik Sanyal. He put me in touch with Mr. Nick Orton. So Jag Chima was at the time with him. So I got in touch with Jag Chima. Then Mr. Avik Sanyal was also very kind to put me in touch with Rajesh sir from Jirai. So I spoke to sir, Rajesh sir, I said, because मुझे कोई जानता नहीं था, but I knew I have unbelievable presentation skills and communication skills and content. Like when I get on stage, it could be the bigger the crowd, the more comfortable I feel. If there are 10 lakh people in the stadium, I feel I feel more comfortable. So I approached Rajesh sir. Rajesh sir was kind enough to give me a chance to MC the show, the Jirai Classic at the time. Then I spoke to Nick and I said, Nick, give me a chance to present. And then I also knew, I said, I have to make the most of this opportunity. So I knew, I did my homework. I knew K11 and Kezaz, they were all pro keto, very against carbs. So 2014, I requested my talk right before or after, I can't remember, before Kezaz sir. So in the same tent. So when they gave the talk, and I gave the talk and I went anti-keto. That was my strategy in a respectful way, but my strategy was to go anti-keto against, because Kezaz sir was the guru of the fitness industry. So in 2014, that was my strategy. As I said, Kezaz sir is the OG. His stance is wrong about keto. I'm going to go against keto. I'm going to get my talk. And I repeated the same thing in 2016 as well. So in 2016, the khundak wali chat thi meri unke saath, because I went to their booth. And by 2016, they all knew who I was, because by then I had fair bit of success with coaching. And I used to pump out a lot of content back in, because see, why are people going to follow you? You either are producing amazing results or you're producing amazing content. At that time, I didn't have amazing results, so I focused on producing amazing content. People that were talking about like ketone supplements and all these intermittent fasting and all that, all these things, I have done this 10 years ago. I have covered all these things 8, 9, 10 years ago. I've been there, done that. So, so I mean, people here know. So then I went to the K11 booth, which was the educational arena was sponsored by K11. So I went to the K11 booth to pay my regards to Kezaz sir. He wasn't there at the time, but their K11 staff gave me fucking lot of shit. They gave me gave me because I was controversial at the time. I was against Jitendra Choksi, was on the receiving end, all these people. So I was picking fights with everybody. You know, there was nobody that I didn't have fights with. I was having fights with everybody. I mean, I regret some of those things, but in hindsight, it put me on the map. You know, it was like, who is this dude? You know, so it put me on the map. Then I started backing up with my results also. So when I went into the K11 arena, into the seminar hall, I was all fired up, man. I had my fucking ears red. I had like fire coming with, and I ripped into them. I had all K11 students sitting in the front row, and I challenged anyone. I said, any of you are welcome to come up here and debate me. This was live. And we had like 300 people there. So that was something, you know, I picked my moments really well, but I used the leverage really well. So I did such an amazing job at Jirai. I was invited for every single body power subsequently. I was also then approached by Sheru Paji also to MC his show in Ludhiana, which didn't work out for whatever reasons. Then I also MC'd the first Muscle Mania in Bangalore. I also MC'd the first Fitline Classic here in whatever that expo was here in Delhi. Then I also did for Gagan sir in Calcutta also. So I mean, a lot of people don't know my struggles and don't know my history, but I leveraged myself so that one client from Sonali, so one client I leveraged so much. I took that opportunity, I ran with it. Then obviously people started knowing me. She won, then other people won, and then you know the rest is history, man. So I thought that was a bit of an interesting.
Great
I'll share
insight.
that, you know. So a bit of an interesting story, yeah.
Yeah. So guys, in fact, I've been knowing Sir for quite some time, and I see that there is a lot of say hate around whatever he posts at time or whenever he comes line. And we have had different conversation also in this, that you don't have to be responsive and even pay attention to all that people say. So guys, when you actually understand what you see Harry sir now, it has not been always like this. He has had his own set of challenges, the struggles that he has seen. So now when you see that he's minting money because of his knowledge, because of his experience, you guys don't have that. You don't have those much of confidence in fact getting onto the stage, talking to anybody, grabbing any opportunity. You come onto a stage and ask 10 people to listen to you. You, in fact, sir, on yourself, how many of you, in fact, will actually get any audience from that self? So actually understand from sir that here is a good opportunity that you need to have a great, say, command on the language. I don't say that only English that you need to have, but in whatever language you communicate, you need to have a command on that. Whatever you promise, you deliver on that. Don't just be, in fact, empty talks. Don't do that. Actually, back it by our action. He has made a business plan. It is not being given to him by his forefathers. He has made it himself in front of you all. You guys did not have that opportunity. You did not grab it. He got an opportunity. He grabbed it. He made it. So no hate. In fact, learn from him. Okay. So thank you for that insight, sir. I did not know
No
the
problem.
background. Yeah. Okay. Anything in your life that you would want to undo? I think you have partially already answered that question, that you should not have picked your fight at that point in time. So I'll skip that question. So there is a lot of, say, debate around. You always say that I'm the number one India's bodybuilding coach. So when you say this, do you mean that there are no other coaches in India who can actually level up the confidence, the athletic skills, bring up the body that is being desired on that national or maybe international stage? Or you think that there is a lack of education, presentation, dedication, or actually acumen of what need to be the diet or the preparation of any Indian athlete? There have been several
Okay.
athletes, in fact, prior to you entered into this arena, and also now the people to whom you have not been coaching, but they are producing results. So when you say that you are number one bodybuilding coach, what exactly that you mean?
Okay, that's a great question. I'm gonna sort of add, there's two reasons behind that. See, the thing is, I mean, anybody who's very successful, you really need to understand the human psychology, okay, how the
Mm-hmm.
human brain works. And I've been very fortunate. I understand the human psychology better than a lot of people at my level. So the thing is this: so when I enter the market, you need to have something. You need to have something that people are going to sort of come to you for. So if you take our marketing strategy also, our marketing strategy from day one, since day one, even if I go back to 2008, 2005, back then, it was always, I am the freaking best. I am the number one. Okay. So what that does is that puts you on the map, gets you attention,
Mm-hmm.
lot of negative attention, but it gets you attention. Put it this way: if nobody talks about you, nobody knows you, right?
Yep.
So you would rather be talked about than be not talked about. Okay. So I said, okay, I'm the number one, I'm the number one, I'm the number one. Now, I knew for a fact back then, nobody could go toe to toe with me back in 2012 and 13, 14, 15, 16, even till now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That I am the number one. So we're the number one bodybuilding coach. So I entered the market with that self-belief, okay, that I am the best. And then I started running these workshops and seminars. Okay, right now, if you come to learn from me, then obviously, and I say this with, I don't want anybody to misconstrue this, then obviously that makes me ahead of you in a way, right? अगर आप
Mm-hmm.
मेरे से सीखने आ रहे हो तो एक तरह से मैं आपसे आगे हुआ ना, हुआ
बिल्कुल
कि नहीं
बिल्कुल.
हुआ?
Yep.
हुआ ना, तभी मेरे से सीखने आ रहे हो. हाँ, आपने मेरे से सीख के आप आगे निकल गए हो, अच्छे काम कर रहे हो, बहुत अच्छी बात है. अब वो कैसे कर रहे हो, गॉड नोस, कि शायद आप ज्यादा ड्रग्स पुश कर रहे हो या आप ज्यादा रिस्क ले रहे हो, आई डोंट नो, राइट? बट people, I mean, Sachin Tendulkar, he learned from Ramakant Achrekar sir. वो रमाकांत से भी आगे निकल गया, right? सर से भी, रमाकांत जी से भी आगे निकल गया. But Sachin is Sachin, right? So let's talk about a little bit how and why I'm the number one, and I justifiably am number one. Let's quantify this statement now.
Mm-hmm.
I got 3 Mr. World titles. I got at least 4 to 5 Mr. Asia titles. I have IFBB pros under my belt. I have produced IFBB pros, people who have won IFBB pros. Okay? I have produced, I can't even remember the number of Mr. Indias I have produced in both federations, right? Let's look at the kind of athletes that I've worked with, people like Mahendra Chavan. He was winning under me when he decided to change his coaches. Good on him. He went to
Mm-hmm.
Mr. India. He didn't even win Mr. India, right? Mahendra Chavan has been my client. Before me, Mahendra Chavan was a very good bodybuilder. I made him a great bodybuilder. Winning Mr. World is no joke. In 2017-16, when India won 3 Mr. World golds, out of that 2 were Team Boss's goals, right?
Oh my God, great.
Right. So Mahendra Chavan, Jaya Prakash, all these people, Ravinder Malik won Mr. Asia under me. Then besides that, I can't even remember how many people I've coached who won number of titles. Now let's look at other things. Gurdesh Man, who's a very dear friend of mine, when Harry Sandhu, when he was in trouble for whatever reasons, they came to me. I helped him to get in condition, and those transformation pictures are there. I got him from bottom to win the LA Police Games, 2 gold medals there. That was Gurdesh Man's client, not my client. Gurdesh Man has attended, I don't know, probably at least 3-4 of my workshops since the time I entered. And I have huge respect for the dude. Is a great learner. So he's been my client also. I got him in tremendous shape. He's been not only my student, but my client. Okay. Now, Atinder from Punjab, Atinder Jeet from Punjab, the gentleman with the beard, he's been my student. He came and attended my bodybuilding workshop. What's his name? Iqbal Syed, Manoj's current clone. He came and he attended my bodybuilding workshop in Mumbai. Even Dr. Chirag Sethi was part of my first workshop in Mumbai in 2014.
Oh, right? Great.
So when we see, I am not going to see, I'll tell you something. It's very easy to see you number one, you this and that. At the end of the day, when the shirt comes off, the bullshit stops when the shirt comes off. At the end of the day, you are always going to be measured by how many runs did you score, how many runs do you have up on the board. That's what you're going to be measured by. Talk is cheap. You can talk whatever you want, right? At the end of the day, you're going to be measured by results. So when I compare my results, when I look at all the results and other, I don't know, a number of so many of your biggest champions in India, I have conversations here in my WhatsApp. The biggest IFBB pros, the biggest world champions India's produced in IBBF and all that, they have taken coaching from me. They have consulted me. Why they couldn't say it openly? Because I went against the grain, right? I started Boss Classic. I was told not to do it or do it with A category. You can't have this and that. So we were the first of independent show that had bodybuilding in the show openly without any federation. So now you see all these shows happening, but Boss Classic was the first one that did that in 2018 without anyone's support. I went to IBBF, got no support. I went to Sanjay Moreji, I got no support. Right? I was trying to be in a way they tried to strong arm me. Man, you're not going to strong arm me. I have got more money behind me from my family. I've got more political connections that most people can imagine. I'm educated from the best schools. So you can't bully someone who's educated, smart, who's got experience, who's connected, and who's got money.
Yeah.
Right? So you can bully others. You can't bully someone like me. Okay? So the point is now coming back to that why I'm the number one. My results are there, man. The guys who are producing the champions now, they have all been through my tutelage.
Yep. I
have moved on to other things. I've dropped the bodybuilding ball. I'm not coaching people nowhere near as much as I used to because I am working on bigger and we are working on, this might sound arrogant, we are working on 100 crore plus value projects. That's not a small amount. Those are big projects, right? So, there are some, Iqbal is a fantastic coach. He's did a great job with Manoj. He might even be better than me right now. Okay, I'm not saying that. Then he might even be better. But hey, let's see when you produced 100 champions consistently, then we can talk. Then who's the best? Till that happens, I'm the boss, right? So till that happens, well, let's not worry about it. So when somebody comes and knocks the king, when somebody comes and knocks the king off the mantle, they can take the mantle. Till then, we're the kings. So, and I say this with humility, when people like Arun Bhattacharya and all these guys, they're wonderful guys, they're wonderful friends, they're really great people. But, I have helped a lot of these guys, Kumar Mannava is no is no mug, you know, he's a celebrity trainer, one of the first OG celebrity trainers from Hyderabad with Telugu industry. He's been my student, he's been my client and all that. So, you know, before all these people came and they're sitting, you know, they don't know my history, and that's okay. See, I am going to be completely irrelevant in bodybuilding scene in the next 3 to 5 years. I'll be like yesterday's news, right? And I don't want to stay in the limelight. I have no aspirations to continue being India's #1 bodybuilding coach. Now my aspiration is I want to be India's #1 fitness entrepreneur and world's one of the leading fitness entrepreneur. That is my goal. My goals have changed. I have been there, done that. At the peak of my career, I had 300 clients per week. You know how many clients that is? 300 clients per week. That's like you're talking about revenue of 20 to 30 lakhs a month. It's not a small. So my priorities have changed. I am looking forward. I've got a family. I've got a kid to look after. I've got parents to look after. I've got, you know, we've got 100 staff. I pay salaries every month. We pay hundreds of people. It's not a small amount, you know.
Yeah.
So that's
that's a much bigger task any day. Just that because you don't, in fact, showcase what results you have produced. In fact,
history.
Talk about.
Nobody gives a shit about that. It's gone. It's water under the bridge. वो हो गया. अब आगे चलो यार. वो हो गए. बना लिया अपने Mr. World कर लिया. अब आगे चलो. मैं कोई नहीं हूँ. I am nobody. I am yesterday's news. तो जब तक हम जब तक ये खत्म होता है तब तक हम ये कर रहे हैं फिर आगे करेंगे ना कुछ.
बिल्कुल. Yeah, and whosoever has been closely working with you know that you have a very strong team, starting from visuals to marketing to planning of events to education, each and everything. You have a very close-knit team, and that really works like a family together. So my question is, because whatever is being taught at Team Boss is run single-handedly on face by you. Okay, all the lectures, all the content that you talk about is being taught by you. So what after this? To whom you think, or do you have plans to hand over the baton to anybody? And you also do a legacy planning for your team, like 10 years down the line, where they will stand, starting from visuals, from marketing to finance to strategy and towards the content development. What future planning you have for them as well? Because they have handed their life to you. Because anybody working with you,
That's a great question. I mean, like, see, we have 2-3 tiers of our team. One is our core team, and I can confidently say that my core team, like those 6, 7, 8 people who are part of the core team, then we have further. They have staff under them. They have staff under them. But my core team, this might sound very cliched, but each one of them will die for me. Literally, they will work at 3 o'clock in the morning. They'll work at 5 o'clock in the morning. When shit needs to be done, nobody looks at the watch. Nobody looks at the clock. Like, I mean, if I take anybody in my team, when something needs to be done, all my team members on an average, they work 12 hours a day. All my team members. I have very ambitious team, incredibly ambitious. People who know me, people who work with me, I'm a different person altogether. When people who work with me, I'm very intense. Needless to say, I'm incredibly intense. Our con calls, our meetings are very intense sometimes, like super intense. And because we operate in a very high pressure environment, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. That's just the way we are. But as far as where I see for them, that's for them. You know, I mean, all my core team I plucked people, I made them leave their current jobs to come and work with me. So most of my core team, I made them leave their jobs. So, I mean, they see value working with me. So they have continued for years together now. I don't see, I mean, you know, I can assure you, anybody from a core team who leaves and goes elsewhere, it will be the best hire for that company, hands down. There's no question about it, because they're extremely well trained. They know very good. They're incredible. Like, my team is like my family. As far as the succession plan goes, man, I mean, I'm pretty young, man. I'm only like freaking 21, you know. So, I've got no intentions of going anywhere soon. And what legacy do I want to leave? I have no desire to be remembered in any way, man. Tomorrow I die and people forget me the next day. I'm totally cool with it, man. I mean, I have no desire that I want to be remembered in a particular way. Nah, I don't give a shit. You know how people remember me. If they think I was an asshole, fine. If they think that I made a difference in their life, great. I'm glad. I just want to make sure that my family is well looked after when I die or when I go and my time is up. I just want to make sure that my family is 100% secure and all the finances and everything is taken care of and everything is structured well. And if I can leave that, that would be my greatest legacy. That's the only legacy I want. I don't want any. I don't have any aspirations of any other, that I don't feel like that, oh, I want to inspire X number of people. I want to inspire these people to become better and all that. You know, I feel very humbled when I do inspire people and I can contribute to their lives. But मुझे ऐसा नहीं है कि यार कि कोई मुझे देख के बोले कि हाँ तुम्हारी वजह से मैंने उम्मीद नहीं छोड़ी या तुम्हारी वजह से मैंने एक्सरसाइज पिक कर ली. मुझे ऐसी कोई आशाएं नहीं है, कोई इच्छा नहीं है. मुझे गालियां देते हैं लोग तब भी ठीक है. उनसे ना मेरा घर चलता ना मेरा घर रुकता है भगवान की दया से. तो अगर मैं मरूंगा तो मुझे पीछे से साला कुत्ता भी नहीं याद करता. कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. Just I'm just being very honest because people have all sorts of aspirations. They want to leave a legacy. They want to be remembered in a particular way. I only have one goal. I want anybody to say, yeah, this guy left his family 100% secure. That's it. Nothing else. Or kuch nahi hai. Everything else, they might think I was the greatest asshole. Fine. I have no problems. Mujhe koi problem nahi hai. That's my only legacy I want to leave. Only goal in life. That's it. Or kuch nahi hai.
Yeah. Yeah, because the brand that you have built up, that is a Team Boss, actually is one of the biggest name in India today. Team Boss.
Yeah, I feel very humbled. I feel very, very humble. Thank you. It means a lot.
Yep. It translates to the best bodybuilding educators, best bodybuilding coaches, one place where you can get sheer knowledge, which is beyond that you can get on Google or beyond what you can actually get on the research papers. How to actually transform any of the physique. That is being taught at Team Boss. So, which is still a big, say shoes to fill in that I can think of. Anybody can actually replicate that. Well, you are also getting into the few of the prominent business into fitness, that is designing of or maybe making or manufacturing of quality supplements, and also maybe into the business of manufacturing of few of the gym equipments as well. What are the future plans? What more than
future plans is future plans is we're going to obviously expand into the supplement range. That's going to come out pretty soon. Then we're also going to be looking at the equipment as well. We're holding of the equipment because the corona isn't fully gone yet. Yep. So I don't want to pump, 10, 20 CR into something that's not 100% certain. So we're waiting for the corona to fully subside, settle things down. They're talking about the fourth wave in June, finishing in October. So that kind of makes me nervous. I don't want to get into the equipment and gyms. But for us, the natural progression would always obviously be supplements and then gym equipment and then gyms, That's the natural progression of things for us, So that's where we'll be looking at.
Okay. One last question, but this is something which may be applicable to everyone who is listening to this podcast, to this live. What I have learned from Harry sir is that how he critically thinks, how he evaluates an opportunity and just not show his money, that his hard-earned money. So how important is critically thinking to each and every individual, to all the youth, irrespective of whatever they are doing currently in their life, may it be into coaching business, may it be into the fitness, may it be a professional job, which is 9 to 5, 9 to 6 job, any job. How important is that, sir?
Put it this way, it's like this. So let me give a tangible and objective example. Imagine you're a cricketer, okay? You only know how to play on slow wickets, okay? Now you can play spin, so that's 1 plus. You can play fast bowling, that's 2 plus, okay? Then you can play overseas wickets, fast wickets, that's 3 pluses. You can play the rising ball, that's a 4 pluses. You can play a hook, that's 5. So critical thinking is exactly the same. It's like most people think in binaries, yes, no, right, wrong, black, white, that way. So when you think like that, what you're doing is you're missing out on all the other important elements. So critical thinking for me is you look at all the information that is presented to you. Okay, I mean, if I could give somebody a tip, how do I think and how you should think as well, how people should think. You look at everything that is presented to you. You look at its past, you look at its present, you look at its future consequences, you look at the input, you rationalize it. I'll give you a very classic example. See, we are so brainwashed as a nation, as a country, and globally also, that if you see, and this is called social conditioning. If you take a person in army uniform and you take a civilian, and if these two people were fighting, and on social media, you would see 90% people would be having an absolute stab into the civilian because he's a civilian. अब लोग वो जवान है हमारे देश के लिए लड़ रहा है, ये है वो है. Let me ask you one thing. Do you know something very interesting? In India, there is no forced service. I might cop a lot of hate for this, but that's okay. I have my beliefs and I will rationalize my statements. In India, there is no compulsory service in the army. Okay? Everybody who joins the defense is a voluntary choice. लोग अपनी मर्जी से फौज ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं. किसी के कनपटी पे कोई बंदूक नहीं रखी हुई है कि आपको फौज ज्वाइन करनी है, आपको जाके वहां पे खड़े होना है. Now, does that mean that I do not respect their choices? Absolutely. Anybody who takes on the job of willing to take a bullet for the country or for anything, man, you have my respect. बर्फ में जाके खड़े होना -40 में आसान नहीं है. You take my, but let's not forget, it is a voluntary choice. किसी ने आपको कान पे बंदूक नहीं. Number 2, when war crimes happen, जो women के rapes होते हैं, जो बच्चे innocents मारे जाते हैं, वो कौन करता है सबसे ज्यादा? It is not the civilians, it is the army defense personnel. When armies,
so I would want to cut this discussion here. Let's not take this example. This in fact
that's okay. I mean, you're not going to copy. Let me finish. It's okay. आप नहीं बोल रहे, you're only listening. So right. So the point I'm trying to illustrate is, when things go wrong, we are all humans in different uniforms, right? So for us to just see कि एक civilian एक फौजी से लड़ रहा है, तो civilian की गलती आपको कैसे पता है कि वो, यार ये तो है नहीं है ना कि आज तक हिस्ट्री में कभी किसी वर्दी वाले ने कुछ गलत ना किया हो. ऐसे कभी हुआ है? हर वर्दी वाला, हर पोजीशन पावर वाला आदमी अब्यूज करता है पावर. प्रिंसिपल से लेके मिनिस्टर से लेके पुलिस वालों से लेके सारे करते हैं अब्यूज, पावर करते हैं. कोई एक नहीं है. तो आप यहाँ तो मतलब कि हिस्ट्री में आज तक किसी ने पावर अब्यूज ना की हो, ठीक है? तो हम इतने दावे के साथ कैसे कह सकते हैं कि यार इस सिविलियन को मारो, ये फौजी के साथ लड़ रहा है? मेरा सिर्फ कहने का ये भाव है कि क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग और कुछ नहीं है, कि जो सिचुएशन आपके सामने प्रेजेंट है, आपको उसकी हिस्ट्री पता है कि आप जो वीडियो देख रहे हो, जो आप 60 सेकंड का वीडियो, उससे पहले की वीडियो में उससे पहले क्या हो रहा था, आपने वो 60 सेकंड का देख लिया, आपको पहले की हिस्ट्री नहीं पता, आपको बाद की हिस्ट्री नहीं पता है, कुछ नहीं पता है, आप उस पर कर रहे हो और मार रहे हो. कितनी बार होता है मॉब मेंटालिटी में कि एक बंदा बेचारा है जिसकी कोई गलती नहीं, उसको लोग पत्थर मार मार के मार देते हैं, आपको पता नहीं, गलत बंदा मर जाता है, राइट? सो क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग इज नथिंग बट इट्स अबाउट टेकिंग एवरीथिंग. अभी मैं अब बोल रहा हूं, अभी लोग क्या करेंगे, उन्होंने क्या करना है, उन्होंने हैरी संधू का पीछे वाले 1 मिनट हटा देना है, अगला 1 मिनट उन्हें बोला ये देखो ये बोल रहा था, इसको मारो साले को. दैट इज व्हाट क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग इज, कि बेसिकली लुकिंग थिंग्स इन एंटायरिटी. कोई, मैं बुराई नहीं कर रहा फौजियों की, मैं ये नहीं कर रहा अच्छा काम नहीं कर रहे हैं. ऑल आई एम सेइंग इज कि सारा कोई भी दुनिया में कोई भी रेस, कोई भी चीज दूध से नहाया धुला हुआ कोई भी नहीं है. ना हमारे बाबे हैं, ना हमारे पंडित हैं, ना हमारे पीर हैं, कोई भी नहीं है. कितना क्राइम क्रिएट करते हैं बाबे वगैरह जो हैं, जो बैठे हैं आश्रम खोल के, कितना कुछ कर रहे हैं, कितने स्कैंडल्स होते हैं. सो द पॉइंट इज दिस कि अंधाधुंध डोंट फॉर्म योर ओपिनियंस जस्ट लाइक कि हाँ यार यही गलत होगा बिकॉज ये सिविलियन है, ये फौजी है. नो, दैट्स ऑल ऑफ थिंग. क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग इज टेकिंग एवरीथिंग इनटू अकाउंट and then using your brains before you pass a judgment. That's it.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's it.
And one last message for all the budding coaches who are already APT educated coaches. They already know what exactly to do with clients, and who are not. What is the plan and what is the message that you want to give it to them?
Yeah, the message is pretty simple. I think, what I have seen is people really need to start valuing education. Really. बेसिक पढ़ाई तो कर लो यार, बेसिक पढ़ाई प्लीज करो मेरे भाई। मैं एक छोटा सा मैसेज दूंगा, लोग कहते हैं कि तुम अंग्रेजी क्यों बोलते हो यार, मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ अंग्रेजी में इसलिए बोलता हूँ बिकॉज अंग्रेजी की भाषा हर जगह यूज होती है, उससे पैसे बनते हैं। हमारे देश में तमिल यूज होते, मैं तमिल बोलता, चाइनीज जो तो मैं चाइनीज सीख लेता, राइट। सो इट्स वेरी सिंपल, राइट, के गेट एजुकेटेड। उसके अलावा जाके बिना किसी बात पे माइंडलेसली यू स्प्रेडिंग हेट ऑन अदर पीपल्स अकाउंट्स, व्हाई यार? कोई सेलिब्रिटी वहां पे कुछ कर रही है, कुछ कर रहा है, आप जाके उसको गंदी गंदी बातें बोल रहे हो, गंदा गंदा बकवास कर रहे हो। इट इज अ रिफ्लेक्शन ऑन यू। आपकी क्या आपकी कल को आपकी बेटी, आपकी बहन इंस्टाग्राम पे और आप जाके उसको रंडी रंडी बोलोगे, आई एम सॉरी फॉर द फाउल वर्ड, वुड यू लाइक दैट? यू वुडंट लाइक इट, यू नो। So just be respectful. Don't burn unnecessary bridges with people. Try to build relationships, especially if somebody is powerful than you or ahead of you or is more connected. आज मैं यहाँ बैठा हूँ, it is only because of कि जितने मेरे सीनियर्स हैं इंडस्ट्री में, मैंने सबके साथ बना के रखी है, अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिली हैं। जो मेरे से बनता उनको भी मैं सर बोलता हूँ, चाहे हरमीत लूथरा जी हैं, चाहे गगन सचदेवा जी हैं, चाहे राजेश सर हैं, चाहे वो निक कॉटन है या कुछ भी है। केजाद सर के साथ भी मतलब कि ठीक है, हमारे डिफरेंसेस थे ऑन on objective things, not as a person, you know. He was very close to me. We would interact. So my thing is, don't unnecessarily go and pick fights with people. Don't be an asshole just unnecessarily. Just be nice, build relationships, work on your communication skills, and always remember यार कि मतलब कि ना, आप when you are young, focus on acquiring skills. आजकल बच्चे 25 26 30 साल के, उनके पास ना तो लैंग्वेज है, ना वो उनके पास कोई स्किल है, कहते हैं हमें पैसे दे दो, ना काम करने की मेहनत है, ना क्षमता है। Everybody wants to make 50,000 just without putting any work. You know, it's like as Dorian Yates said in one of his interviews on London Real, everybody wants to be famous, you know, without doing it. Everybody wants to be famous. If you watch London Real interview of Dorian Yates, and that he explicitly says, you know, everybody wants to be famous without doing anything. You know, that's not how it works, you know. I mean, I am sitting here, but I mean, I've busted my ass to be here in 20 years, man. I mean, these grays didn't happen. They color नहीं किया हुआ है, वो मेरे मौत ने मेरे काले करा देते बाल यूएस जाने से पहले, और भी आहिस्ता आहिस्ता कलर निकल रहा है. So that's it, man. No real advice, man. You know, just be use करो दिमाग. That's
and
it.
Somehow, in fact, what I see of that, you make the best utilization of time that is available in hand. What actually our youngsters lack today is that how they can produce maximum results in 24 hours. That if in case they are teaching, say, maybe coaching 4 to 5 clients, and then they have a gap of, say, 4 hours or maybe 5 hours, they will just louse around. They'll not, in fact, value those 4 5 hours into education, or maybe getting more out of it. If in case you're just stuck to maybe a gym coaching, you will not look beyond that. And imagine, and guys, in fact, whosoever is listening to it, this is for all of you who are budding coaches. Imagine you are coaching 4 5 hours in the morning and then 4 5 hours in the evening, and you don't have any corporate clients during the day. For how many years you are going to do this? As Coach rightly said, that we will not have many of the opportunities post 40 years of age, or you will not have maybe a coach running out of the gym of 50 years age, and neither you put yourself in that shoe. Neither you also would want to be coached by a 50-year-old man. You may want to hear him out.
Yeah, just. Yeah. I mean, you're not Charles Glass. Let's just be honest.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
you know, I mean, I always say you've got to have multiple skill sets. Always try to have 2 or 3 streams of revenue. Always have a plan B. People always talk about don't have a plan B. That is the silliest thing. It's the worst advice you can ever get or give. Don't have plan B. I only have plan B. These things sound sexy on TV, in interviews. In real life, you've seen what happened to people who didn't have plan B in pandemic. They all got fucked.
Exactly. Yeah.
They all suffered because you didn't have any secondary skill. So ये जो चीजें हैं ना, ये फिल्मों में अच्छा लगता है, ये कि यार तुम लोगों की परवाह करना बंद करो, लोगों की क्यों सुन रहे हो? बेवकूफ हो आप. 2 प्रकार के लोग हैं मार्केट में. एक है कि जो आपके पोटेंशियल कस्टमर हो सकते हैं. यार आप मार्केट का फीडबैक सुनो ना कि मार्केट बोल क्या रही है. What is the market saying? What is your I mean, how do people perceive you? How are people looking at you? and how many of these people could be your potential clients. And if you just want to have that, suffer from the ostrich bias, that way you just stick your head in the sand and you completely oblivious के लोग
Yep.
क्या बोल रहे हैं, ठीक है वो बात अलग है, लेकिन ये हमारे हुआ क्या है कि इंटरनेट ने आके, सोशल मीडिया ने आके भट्ठा बैठा दिया है, वो क्लीशे कोट्स चलते रहते हैं और लोग सोचते वही क्या, वो एवरीथिंग प्लान है, वन लाइफ बेबे, यू नो ये चीजें हो गई, वो ठीक है, वो जो बोल रहा है वन लाइफ बेबे, वो तो करोड़पति है, वो तो 100 करोड़ बना रहा है, आप क्या कर रहे हो, यू नो उसका तो स्लोगन है, वो तो वन लाइफ में उसने तो 100 लाइफ जी ली, आप क्या कर रहे हो, you know what I'm saying? So the point is, these people are just mindlessly, कोई आपके पास सेकेंडरी स्किल नहीं है, कोई आपके पास क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग नहीं है. मुझे तो लग रहा है हमारा यूथ जितना नलायक, हमारा यूथ अभी जो भी बच्चे जो 25 के नीचे हैं, उनको तो मतलब कि पता ही कुछ नहीं है. वो तो टिकटॉक जंकीज हैं, 2 सेकंड से तो उनकी अटेंशन स्पैन नहीं है.
टिकटॉक ट्रेंडिंग रील्स उस पे पता नहीं कैसे
that's fine यार, करो, कोई मैं मना नहीं कर रहा हूँ यार, but I mean anyway, that's my story. Have plan B and please study यार, पढ़ लो, पढ़ाई कर लो, काम आएगी.
Well, that was a great session with you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome.
And yep, and in fact, I think everybody who's on the call, in fact, have actually got to understand so many things from you, which they did not know otherwise about you. What has been your journey, what has been your struggle, and how you made it so big. So guys, in fact, have your lessons from this. And I'm sure everybody got some of the insight from what Coach Harry told us. Well, thank you, everyone.
No, you're welcome. Thank you
look forward to feedback from you. Thank you so much.
No,
thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you so much. No problem.
Yeah.
All right, see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye for now.